everyone, so today I am going to be answering the questions you guys sent in on the last request video for the Q&A. But before I go ahead and answer all those questions, I wanted to touch base with you guys on some updates with the Q&As. Currently, the way I have them set up is I try and do them every 1,000 subscribers. That way it's sort of a reward, and the new people joining the channel get a chance to sort of talk to me and get direct responses. This time I got the most amount of questions I have ever received ever on a Q&A, and I didn't even post this one on Instagram, which is great. That does mean, however, that I can't answer every single question like I have been in the last Q&As. In order to make this a little bit more fair for everyone and to give everyone an opportunity to get their questions answered, I'm going to start doing these monthly. This will be November's. Next month I will do December's. The way I'm going to be setting this up is, instead of posting a video asking for questions, I am going to be taking questions from this video. If your question from last week's video doesn't get answered in this video, go ahead and leave it again, and I'll try and answer it in December's. And then on December's, I'll ask you guys to leave questions for January's in the comments of that one, so on and so forth. After we're done moving and we're all settled in, I'd like to start bumping my video schedule up to 2 videos a week, and if that's the case, I'd like one of those videos to be a Q&A. So that would mean that I'd be doing weekly Q&As, probably on Fridays, because it's easiest for me to film on Fridays. Although, speaking of, normally I film during the day, and today is the first time I've filmed with the sun down. So let me know how you guys feel about this lighting right now, because it's all artificial. So anyway, totally besides the point. If you'd like to submit questions for December's Q&A, go ahead and leave those down below, but wait until I'm done with answering all the questions in this video, because I may answer your question before you even ask it. Alright, so the way I'm going to be choosing questions is I've got the video pulled up on my phone. I'm just going to scroll and pick one. I'm going to answer as many questions as I possibly can in about a half-hour span. That way I can edit it down to less than a half hour. There are about 100 questions here, so I'm going to try my best to get through as many as I can in that short period of time, but I can guarantee you I'm not going to get all of them. So if your question isn't answered in this video, leave it down below, like I said, and I will answer it in a couple weeks in December's Q&A. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first question. Hey, I've been looking into getting a hedgehog for almost more than 2 years, and I was wondering some things that haven't been answered yet. Do they freak out with loud noises? What do you give them for treats? And I have a cat, will it bug the hedgehog? Thanks. So first and foremost, will it freak out with loud noises? Most of the time. It's just sort of their natural behavior. They're prey animals, so naturally they're defensive. Some of the ways that you can get them to react less to loud noises is to continue to have them around them. Leaving a radio on when you're not in the room that they're in, putting them in a semi-high traffic area, having the TV on, talking to them while you have them out, things like that. Get them used to noises. If you're quiet around your hedgehog all the time, noises are definitely going to scare them. And if it's quiet in a room and then there's a loud noise all of a sudden, they're gonna freak out anyway. What do you give them for treats? That totally depends on the hedgehog. My best response for that is I will leave a link in the description for you where you can look at a chart that has a bunch of hedgehog safe treats that you can try with your hedgehog. Every hedgehog likes different things. Draco likes eggs and worms, and Blaze doesn't really like anything, if I'm honest with you, but he likes to anoint with a lot of things. So he likes to anoint with applesauce, some herbs, stuff that's really high fragrance, but he doesn't actually eat any treats at all. So totally varies per hedgehog, but I'll leave that link down below so you can have it on hand. I like to keep it on my phone. The last part of that question is about having a cat and a hedgehog at the same time. Will your cat bother it? Totally depends on the cat. Knox bothers pretty much every animal except for the hedgehogs, but he didn't avoid them in the beginning. In the beginning he did try to bother them, but he wound up getting pricked by the quills and wants nothing to do with them now. I can't really speak for your cat because I don't know your cat. My Hedgie isn't really bonding with me. What can I do to help? This is a question that a lot of people ask on my channel, and there is no really right answer. Every hedgehog is different, but please know that it's really common to struggle with bonding with your hedgehog. The best thing that I can say is to continue to be really patient with them. Some hedgehogs take a long time. Blaze took about a year before I could hold him without him balling up. He still balls up when I get him out of the cage, but without him staying in a ball. He would just stay like that for a year. So it can take a really long time. Don't give up on them. It's really rewarding when they sort of really understand that they can trust you. The first day that I picked up Blaze and I was about to set him on my lap and just watch a show and kind of deal with the fact that he was not enjoying my company, I picked him up, and after a second, as I was walking into the living room, I felt his belly. And it was the most exciting moment that I've had with him. Just feeling his fur on my hand, and he did it all by himself. I didn't have to coerce him. He wasn't fresh out of the bath, which is the only time I had ever really got to hold him without him balled up. And that was really just through me being persistent and patient. So I'd get him out every single day, make sure I was interacting with him. I kept bonding mostly to lap time with him, but you gotta do what works for your hedgehog. But I was persistent and patient. I made sure that I was continually doing the same things with him over and over and over again, so he understood who I was, what I was doing, and when I was doing it. And then patient. Every time I wanted to give up, and believe me, there were a lot of times I wanted to give up. Every time I wanted to, I kept telling myself it'll be worth it in the end. And it was. Can a Tenrec roll into a ball? They can, they don't usually. Have you considered vlogging? I think you would be great at it. I love your videos, they are really helpful. I've heard you mention your boyfriend a few times. Can you show him on camera? And let's see. Oh, if you consider vlogging, it should be on this channel. So I have considered vlogging. In fact, I plan on vlogging at least some of the move, just because I think moving with 10 pets is a pretty daunting experience, and we'll be moving in the dead of winter. So I figured it would be something that you guys would enjoy. If I do end up vlogging, it will remain on this channel. I won't be making a second channel. And if I vlog, you guys will get to see my boyfriend. His name is Jake, in case anyone was wondering. Because there were a couple questions about him, surprisingly. If you had a heat pad, what temperature should it be at to not be too cold or burn the hedgehog? I love your cute little hedgies. Well, thank you. And I hate to say it, but heat pads aren't a good heat source for hedgehogs. If you guys want to know my opinion on heating, I'm going to do an updated video on that soon because the cages look different, but I do have a heating video in my hedgehog playlist, and I'll try and remember to put it in the cards. I'm pretty bad about putting them up there. It's on, if you guys are looking at the screen, it's on your right hand side. I have a whole heating video that's dedicated to what heat sources are appropriate for hedgehogs, and unfortunately heating pads aren't one of them. They are known to short out all the time. If you join the group on Facebook, Hedgehogs Anonymous, one of the admin of that group has a hedgehog that has severe burns from a heating pad, but you can join most of the groups on Facebook and see some of the melted bins from the heating pad melting straight through the plastic. You can see pictures of burns on hedgehogs, which are really sad to look at, but they're not a good option because they involve direct contact with your hedgehog. So if, God forbid, it shorted out, it would immediately injure your hedgehog. I prefer ceramic heat emitters. If they short out, which is really unlikely, they're not in direct contact with your hedgehog. They're controlled by a thermostat, which will turn them off if they get too hot. I have a hedgehog that is 1 year old and losing lots of quills. I visited the vet many times and we did a skin scraping. It came back negative for mites and ringworm. Do you have any idea what might be going on? He isn't growing any new ones. Thanks. And she clarified later in the comments that this isn't quilling because he's not growing any new ones. So currently there have been a lot of issues with hedgehogs developing thyroid issues. If you've already had a skin scraping, that could be a possibility. Neither of my hedgehogs personally have dealt with this issue, but I do know a lot of people in the hedgehog community, especially the Facebook hedgehog community, that have struggled with this. What I'm going to recommend is that you join one of those groups, specifically Hedgehog Happenings and Hedgehog Anonymous, or you can also join Hedgehog Welfare Society and post a question about your hedgehog's quill loss. You might want to also include a picture. There are several people in those groups that are having the same issues, one of which discovered that her hedgehog has a thyroid problem, which keeps him from growing new quills consistently. That way you can get information from people that have actually experienced this, so that I'm not giving you sort of information that I haven't experienced firsthand. So I hope that was helpful. Can you please make more videos about preparing for having a Tenrec as a pet? I'm hoping to get one eventually. I'm gonna try. I haven't been filming with Finn too much because I want him to be in his new cage before I start doing that. He also happens to be semi in torpor, which means he's hibernating a little bit right now. And again, disclaimer, Tenrecs are not related to hedgehogs. If your hedgehog is hibernating, it's very dangerous. Tenrecs actually do go into a somewhat hibernating state when it's cold out. He still gets up every once in a while, but he sleeps mostly. So I've just been sort of waiting on the new cage to do some stuff with him, but when the new cage comes, expect quite a few Tenrec videos. So this is 2 questions, but I'm gonna combine my answer. Do you ever feel like you have too many pets, and is it hard to keep all of your pets? And I just want to say that no matter how many pets you have, sometimes life can be overwhelming. So sometimes, yes, it is hard to have all of them. Sometimes I do think maybe I'm in over my head. And I think that goes for anything in life. Sometimes things can be difficult. I've never gotten to the point where I couldn't care for my pets, and I think that's the really important point. I've never gotten to the point where I have completely disregarded our financial stability for a pet, which I think starts putting you in collector territory where you're not able to care for your pets anymore. You're just sort of getting them because they're cute. So I've never been in that position before. But sometimes it can get overwhelming. Sometimes I don't feel good. Sometimes I'm just really busy and I need to ask for help to get things done, and that's okay. But yeah, sometimes it can be hard, and sometimes I do sit down and go, what have I gotten myself into? But those are just the bad days, you know? I'm planning on getting a hedgehog, but I want to make a plastic storage container cage. I don't know what size or where I can get them online. So bin cages, you want to make sure that they are 110 quarts or bigger. A lot of people will say 105 quarts, but I think 105 quarts is too small. Personally, I think that the minimum you should ever get for a hedgehog is 4 square feet, and a 105 quart bin falls below that. So 110 quarts or larger, and you'll find them at convenience stores. You won't really see them online. So Walmart, Target, Kmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere that sells plastic bins pretty much is where you'll find them. How often do you clean the fleece blanket part? Like put it in the wash? Do you recommend regularly weighing your animal? Well, that's 2 questions. So how often I wash the fleece? I wash them every week. Or I change them every week. I have multiple sets so that I don't have to do laundry every single week for them. But you want to change it out of their cage at least a week. You didn't specify for what animal, but none of my animals can go longer than a week on fleece except for the Tenrec. And I'm going to assume that that's not what you're asking for. So the hedgehogs every week. The guinea pigs I do every week, but I also have extra pads. If you don't have extra pads, you might have to do yours like every 5 days or so. And do you recommend regularly weighing your pet? Yes, every single week. You should, or I really stress the importance of weighing your animals weekly. And I think a lot of pet tubers on this channel and I think a lot of pet tubers do, because a lot of the animals that I own are prey animals, which means they hide their illnesses. So the best way to see if they are sick or see if they need to go to the vet is by seeing if they have any dramatic weight loss. So yes, I definitely recommend weighing your animals regularly, weekly, around the same time is the best. I got asked a couple times if I was planning on getting any more pets, and right now the answer is no. That answer may change in the future, especially if some of the pets pass away, but right now my max number for what I'm comfortable with having with our financial stability right now is the guys that we've got now. I think it's really important if you're going to be getting new animals that you look at your financial stability, what you can afford if any of them get sick or all of them get sick, which is unlikely, but it's still something you have to consider. If multiple pets are getting sick at once, do you have the money to take care of them? So no, right now I don't want any more pets. But we'll see. Several of the animals I have rather short lifespans, like the girls here, who are both going on 2, I believe. They were rescues, so who knows, they could already be 2. But for right now, with the pets I have, no. Is it easy to litter train a hedgehog? No. Neither of mine are litter trained. I get a lot of questions about litter training. I don't litter train my hedgehogs, and it wasn't a priority for me to even try. Hedgehogs naturally poop while they run, so training them to go anywhere else in the cage isn't exactly natural for them. So I keep a litter pan under the wheel in order to catch the most mess, but they go wherever they want, whenever they want to. Because of this means I'm not exactly the authority on litter training hedgehogs. I don't have a lot of advice to give you. The best advice I can give you is to expect it to be really difficult. Do you ever allow your hedgehogs to be together? If not, why not? No, I don't. They have met once and it didn't go so well, so they have never met again. Male hedgehogs don't tend to get along. Hedgehogs in general are solitary animals, and just in general they don't tend to get along. Sometimes females can be introduced to other females and they will get along, but males and males typically never do. You can't house them together, so they're not naturally prone to wanting to play together either. So no, they live separately, they don't play together, and if I get them out together for lap time, I have one on one side and one on the other side, so they can't bother each other. Male hedgehogs will attack each other if given the chance. And a similar but different question would be, can I keep a Tenrec and a hedgehog together? And no. They are different species. Tenrecs and hedgehogs are 2 different animals from 2 different species. They're not the same pet, they're not even related. The only thing that is similar about them is the fact that they both have quills, but they're different sizes, they're different shapes, really. They have different temperaments and different care requirements, totally different. So no, they can't be housed together, and the likelihood of them killing each other, if they were, is really high. Does vacuuming bother your pets? Well, this one specifically, does vacuuming bother your hedgehog? But I did see one that said, does vacuuming bother your guinea pigs? So I'll combine them. Does vacuuming bother your pets? No. And that's because I have been vacuuming around and in their cages since I've had them. They've gotten used to it. So I think that's all the questions I'm going to answer on this Q&A. Again, if your question wasn't answered in this video, you can leave it in the comments down below and it'll get answered in the next Q&A. Some things I want to add. If you guys are asking a question, remember that I have 10 animals and they are of a variety of pets, which means I've got different species. So if you ask really generic questions, I may not know who you're talking about. Like, I got a question that said, do they shed? And I'm not sure who they was. So I can't really answer that question because are they talking about the hamsters, the guinea pigs, the dogs, the hedgehogs? I don't know. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you have any questions for next month's video, leave them down below on this thread. There won't be another video asking for questions. So you gotta leave them down below in this one. If you want to see next month's Q&A answers video, go ahead and subscribe if you aren't already. We do a lot of other videos you might enjoy. So if you haven't joined us yet, please do. Like, comment, and subscribe. All that jazz. You know how it goes, I think. Alright, so I'll see you guys next time.